Hi, within this section, we're going to discuss what can we do after we hack into the target system. Up until now, we focused on hacking into the target system, hacking into the computer and systems by backdoors or by exploiting some vulnerabilities. In the end, we got a session. Most of the time we got a Meterpreter session and we didn't do much with it, right? We just ran some commands like ls before. Now we're going to dig a little deeper. So I'm running my MSF console, my Metasploit Framework in my Kali Linux, and also I have my Windows open on the other side with NAT network, of course. So I'm going to use my previous backdoors in order to have a session in here. So I'm going to say use exploit multi-handler because that's what we're using in order to listen incoming connections in the MSF console like we did before. So if you say show options, you won't see anything because we didn't set the payload yet. So I'm going to do it with set payload Windows Meterpreter and reverse HTTP. I'm doing this stuff a little fast because by now you should know how to do them. Okay, we did it before, we did it a lot of times actually. So it says that this is not valid. I believe I should have said reverse HTTP rather than HTTP reverse. So if I say show options, then I can see that I have to set my lhost, and remember my IP address was 10.02.15. Of course you can get yours by running ifconfig in another terminal. So let me make sure it was 10.02.15. Yeah, it was 10.02.15. And my L port was already 8080, so it's okay, I can run exploit. Since now I'm listening for incoming connections in here, I can go to my Windows machine and run my backdoor. If you didn't watch the backdoor section, I suggest you go back and do that because we have created a backdoor that works. So I'm just going to run this in here, the Kirk payload or James payload. I'm not going to run outside network payload that we have created because I'm now working in a NAT network. I'm just testing this, and we already seen how to run this in an external environment as well. So I think it's okay to test this on NAT network right now. So if you double click on one of the payloads that you have created before, it will open a connection from the Windows machine to your Kali machine, and you can get it in here. So let me maximize this window because we are done with the Windows. We're going to continue with the Kali Linux. At this point, if this session doesn't get created for you, you can also try to run this with exploit jz. So exploit-j-z. And this will run the exploit in the background, and sometimes it helps creating sessions. And if the Meterpreter session is in the background, you can reach that session by running sessions L. And in our case, it seems to be in the background as well, so I'm going to run sessions-L. As you can see, now we see the Meterpreter session that we have. And the ID is important in here because we're going to use the ID number. We can also see the connection, which IP is coming from which IP, and we can see the information and the type as well. And you can, of course, have multiple Meterpreter sessions at once. So if you want to interact with any of those, you can run sessions-1, for instance, and it will give you the Meterpreter session. Now we are in the Meterpreter session. Now we can run some Meterpreter commands. And if you say background at any time, it will take you to the MSF console one more time. And you can do that without losing the connection with the target. It's very important not to lose connection because you only have one chance. Since you got that chance, you should not mess it up. You should not close the connection by mistake. So if you run background, it will just take you to the Metasploit Framework without having to lose the connection. Now if I run sessions 1 again, it will take me to my Meterpreter session once again. So what next? I can run sysinfo to get the general system information. As you can see, I got the computer, I got the operating system, the architecture, system language, and everything. So I know my target is using Windows and they have a 64-bit computer and they speak English. And beyond that, Meterpreter has really cool features, really cool commands. You can see all the command list by typing help in the Meterpreter session. It will give a list with descriptions so you can try to build your own post-hacking strategy with it. For example, let me run help, and as you can see, they are even categorized because there are so many of them. For example, here we have webcam stream command, and it opens the webcam of the target user. Okay, of course you can try this right now, but since we are using a Windows virtual machine, it will say that this target doesn't have a webcam. As you can see, in fact, this target doesn't have a webcam. And you can try to just read all of these commands in order to understand what Meterpreter is doing. I'm going to stop here because within the next lectures we're going to discuss the very important commands of the Meterpreter once again, but I suggest you take a look around at this whole list.